What is translation? Translation is the conversion of written text from one language into another. Also makes communication possible among people who read or write different languages. Why translation is important? Well, it's necessary to communicate information to those who need it, want it, or are entitled to it, do not understand the language of the original document. What is a translator? A translator is a person who converts the content of a document written in one language into another language. They are belonging to groups of people from two different cultures to read two different languages. He or she must understand the author's intention so that the translation will convey the intent, the message, and ideas. What are the differences between a translator and an interpreter? Well, a translator makes written communication possible by converting written text from one language to another, and an interpreter makes communication possible by converting speech or sign language into another language or into sign language. What we do to find the right translation? First, describe the project. Follow links. Request referrals from colleagues and clients. Search online. It's important to ask for references and samples. Always check reference and review samples of a translation works. Also, compare costs.
Preparing for translation. It is hard for a translator to communicate message in another language when the original document isn't clearly. Make sure the original English is appropriate, is well organized, direct, and clear, contains everything you want to convey. A well-designed document offers a visual invitation to readers. Should be present in the translation just as in search document, employ ideograms inside of letters, a glossary about the list of words, phrases, or proper nouns. Monitoring and evaluating translation. Keep the lines of communication open. Dialogue about the project. Resolve disagreements about word choices or terminology. And your translator should make the final decision. Conduct a soft review to identify any errors. Use graphics and illustration. Compare with the original and represent the meaning of the original document. The most common mistakes in the translation process are leaves out some of the text that appear in the search document, misinterprets the meaning of the text, and the final translation gives the wrong message, includes texts that are inappropriate, accept change that the translation makes grammar, spelling, or punctuation errors.
It's already a good idea to use a non-professional to translate because your colleague may not be a graded. Even if your colleague speaks and writes the language well, he or she may not be a good translator. Your colleague or friends or relative may not have enough translator experience to adapt the translation to suit the culture and literacy levels of the target audience. When a document is translated by an untrained person, not quality assurance is built into the process. Machine translation, (MT) as it is called, translates phrases and individual words without regard to context or how words are used in the real world. There are a variety of MT software products on the market, but so far MT cannot adapt the text to a specific educational level or culture.
The translation presents some problems like titles, stylized language, regional dialects, strong language, and colloquialisms. When written by contemporary authors poses its own problems, do translators update the text to refresh it and make it accessible, thereby losing the distinctive use the vocabulary and turn of phrase. The editing process is important because that process helps to mold the text. The role of copy-editor: the good copy-editor adjusts that and thinkers to create the book that both authors and translators envisage. The translator's role after editing is complete. The relationship: the editor should keep the translator informed about publicity plans, reviews that appear, sales figures, subsequent right sales, and marketing initiatives. The network of good translators is still relatively small, but it is vibrant and important.
Who editors choose the translators? The simple translators they might have their own ideas about how the language should work. The translation contracts crediting the translator. In some cases publishers put the translator's name on the cover of the book, establishing boundaries. Translators as editors. Translators are also acting as editors during the process of the translation.